وعليكم السلام وعليكم السلام وعليكم السلام وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وعليكم السلام وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته وعليكم السلام وعليكم السلام. Yes, that's the time. وعليكم السلام وعليكم السلام. So I don't know where the dude is. وعليكم السلام. Not doing karak, just doing the usual Lipton or whatever they have. One sec. Hook me up with your tea dealer. It's not really that special. Boss, Lipton Halib. Lipton Halib. Oh, folks, what's going on? What's going on? Well, everyone orders from the bar here. It's nothing special. That's just how it is. Is this a Q&A or is this just Farid drinking tea? Allah, if you guys have anything interesting you guys want to talk about, we can talk about whatever's interesting. Do let me know if the air conditioning is too loud, by the way. Rambo. That's what we're gonna call him. Okay, مشكور أخوي. Can I be an Athari and disagree with some things? Depends. Please respond to Ahmadi. In what? Weather in Bahrain isn't too bad. Ibrahim, if you mention like specifically because he mentions a lot of points. If you mention to me like one specific point, I'll happily share my thoughts right here. Ahmed answers claims that Ibn Hajar said that we must accept Bukhari even if the chain is not mentioned. Okay, what do you think? Radi random. I ask you this. Al-Bukhari was sitting in front of you, yeah? And he says to you, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whatever. He gave you a ruling that you've never heard of before. It could be anything. It could be the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that, I don't know, man. I don't want to give a hypothetical. I got hypothetical. You guys say you're being disrespectful. The Bukhari mentioned a hadith to you you've never heard before. The Bukhari does not provide a chain. Do you accept it, yes or no? VYBZ says, can I agree with the Imam Nawawi when he says Allah descending is a metaphor as an athari? I don't think that, I think that's like, you've crossed the line. because the descent of Allah is such a big topic that I don't think it's possible to be athari while rejecting it. Wallahu alam. Like there are some things that are like valid. Like there are some attributes that are like valid differences of opinions. I don't think that descent is one of them. Sophia is asking, why do you have a hint of American? Why do you have a hint of American in your accent? I do. It's a lot of TV as a kid. A lot of American TV as a kid. Ultimate Light, listen, dude. I'm saying something that you might find beneficial. You might want to try focusing on what I'm saying. Yeah? Okay? I'm making a point. I'm making a point against like blindly following al-Bukhari. Okay? So you might want to benefit from this. Okay? And by the way, I'm not saying anything that's like against Ahl Sunnah, folks. So there's one about hadith sciences beginning with Shu'b ibn al-Hajjaj, and so later scholars wouldn't have known who was strong in memory before, since it wasn't tested. Are you saying that critiquing Dhabt started with Shu'b ibn al-Hajjaj, or at least is that the argument that Joshua was making? This is incorrect, because we actually have Umar ibn Khattab critiquing Dhabt. Oof. It's natural, by the way. So, Ilm al-Hadith is a natural science. When you assume that someone makes mistakes, is forgetful, whatnot, this isn't something that the ulama had to sit down and come up with a system for that yet. This is simple. This is very simple stuff. Critiquing someone's dhabt. I don't know if I trust that person. That person may make mistakes. That person seems to have a fuzzy memory. We all do this. Do you guys do this? I do this. I know people who are close to me, related to me, and I think this person has a bad memory. So it doesn't need 100 years for someone to develop this. And Muhammad says, after visiting the West, what are some things you've noticed since you live back home? Is the West what you expected, and what are good things we have in the West that's lacking back home? Well, alhamdulillah, nice having halal food, right? Back home, yani. Everywhere. That's nice. Yani, the weather, man, the weather is awesome in the West. The environment's really nice. Yani, mashallah, the people, being a part of a small community, a minority, the Muslims are, yani, you can feel that the brotherly love is there. So that's one of the nice things. Here, like, everyone's a Muslim. You don't feel you see a Muslim, you don't feel special. But when you're in the Dulles airport and you notice that like the people working there are all like Sudani people, you're like, Ajib, what's going on? And you feel like it's cool, I have like all these Muslims around me. You go to the musalla, and not the musalla, excuse me, the meditation room, and it's just like filled with Muslims. The Muslims took over the little church in the airport. It's just filled with Muslims. You're like, oh, that's cool, but you feel it's a nice special thing because you're supposed to be a minority in there. Bismillah. It's nice. I have a question. When you talked about the tafsir of Ibn Abbas, are there any statements of Mujahid or any other students of Ibn Abbas that they taught Ali ibn Abi Talha full tafsir? Of course not. Rabbi Random said he called you a liar, by the way. Well, okay. Okay, so Son of Paper says no. Safdar says no. Spreader of the Haqq says no. I'm guessing you guys are saying that no, we don't have to accept al-Bukhari when Bukhari says the Prophet said. Omar says yes. Omar says if it's al-Bukhari, I accept. Gambit says Farid sounds more Canadian than American. Oh, I'm Canadian. Luqman says I sound Canadian. Radi Random says I would not accept the chain. I need to work in my Canadian. What's the thing? What's the thing they say? I need to work on my Canadian A. Is that it? Silent Empire says never follow blindly. Any good books in Rajan in English? I don't know. I don't think so. Radi Random says he also claimed that Imam Ahmed praised to one who travels for that chain. I can't imagine that. Do you think if all the scholars from the US and the UK and the subcontinent came together against Qadianism at this point, it can be eradicated? No. It's really hard for like a religion or a sect to like completely die out, especially in the modern age. I think it's very, very, very hard. Hey, Aboot, yes, Aboot. That's it. Type folks. Let's go back to this topic. Folks, tell me why, if al-Bukhari mentions a hadith, tell me why, if al-Bukhari mentions a hadith without quoting his source, why would it be accepted? Why would it be rejected? Umar was saying we're supposed to accept it. Why? A bunch of you guys were saying that we rejected Bukhari if he does not mention a chain. Why? Hey, Radi Random. Imagine Bukhari is in front of you, okay? وَجَزَنَ بِذَلِكَ. And he said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كذا وكذا. Do you accept this? Why? Why? Not off the bat. Okay, let me say this. What if it's al-Zuhri? What if al-Zuhri says قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم? Would you accept it? Al-Zuhri comes, what, like 130 years? Al-Zuhri is a tabi'i. Do you accept when he says قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم? Radi says it would be a mursal, so no. So if it's a mursal with a Zuhri, is it muttasil if it's al-Bukhari? Al-Bukhari is later than Zuhri. We accepted Bukhari because of his dhabt. طيب الزهري is also ضابط. Zuhri is also ضابط. Ibrahim Ma says, no, we wouldn't accept. It's because the marasil of Zuhri are the worst. That's not why, ya Abdul Rahim. It is quite bad. I do agree that it's quite bad. But Mursal is Mursal. Safdar says, rejected because Bukhari wasn't present there, which states that he isn't an eyewitness for whatever hadith he is mentioning. Depending on the hadith. If it has another similar hadith with chains, okay, I might accept it. But if it's the only chain, then no. If it contradicts another hadith with a chain, also no. Ibn Hazm rejected hadith about music because the actual hadith, just the matan, if I'm not wrong, actually Ibn Hazm mentions his reason. It is actually based on the isnad. The main concern was regarding Ibn Hajar. طيب. What does Ibn Hajar say? He says you have to accept. Huh? Abdul Rahim says, Akhi, I'm of the position that we don't accept any marasil of anyone unless there is a chain for it elsewhere. Okay, good. Yeah, sorry, someone's asking about the hadith of the music. So Ibn Hazm has an issue with hadith in Bukhari. He's off the position that's disconnected. However, the chain is connected elsewhere, and also, like according to Ibn Hazm's personal views, in like his other works, he mentions that such reports from al-Bukhari should be accepted. It's a bit of a weird one, but don't worry, it's a connected report. So let me just rephrase some of this. Yeah. True Legion says, why would Bukhari, a scholar known for his chain, leave a hadith without a chain? For this reason, I might not accept it. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we have multiple ways of looking at it. We can hold the position that Bukhari didn't believe the report's authentic. He was just mentioning something because it's related to the context, related to the topic. It could be something like that. But we can also have this position that al-Bukhari did believe in the hadith. Yeah? Again, the question is, if he believed in the hadith, is it binding upon you if he does not provide evidence for it? That's not him, guys. Wait, you guys think that Christian Prince actually typed that out? That's not him. He can't type a sentence without making like 3 spelling mistakes. Puma says rejected because we hardly accept mursal. then how would we accept hadith without isnad? That's right. Does Hazrat Ali kill 20 men in Badr? That's an interesting one. I'm curious. I'm curious why you asked the question. First of all, you tell me why I asked the question, and then I'll tell you my answer, inshallah. Radhi Random says, how would you understand Imam Ibn Hajar's stance though? Okay. So if Ibn Hajar is saying that Al-Bukhari intends for it to be authentic, then I would simply, well, okay. So you have two possibilities. One is Ibn Hajar is saying Al-Bukhari believes it's authentic. He just believes it's authentic. And the second position is Al-Bukhari not only believes it's authentic, but is using this as like a report that you have to accept. Yeah, so there are differences between the two, right? One is it's binding upon you, and two is it's just his position. Okay, there's a big difference between the two. Now, personally, I don't believe in both. When Bukhari says "Qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam kada wa kada," I don't believe that this is. I don't believe, one, it's binding upon me. I don't believe it's binding upon anyone because he's not providing his evidence. That's one. And two, I don't believe Al-Bukhari is even telling you it's authentic. I don't believe he's doing this. And inshallah, I will later stream. I'll provide evidence for this. But there's an issue with how some scholars assumed things off Al-Bukhari, because we don't have anything like Al-Bukhari never says this in his book. He doesn't say this in any book. Al-Bukhari never says, hey, if I quote the Prophet, peace be upon him, without mentioning the source, that means, it's authentic, according to me. You get me? Okay, طيب. Yeah, someone's getting confused. Okay, so shuf, someone, here's what's going on. Al-Bukhari says, and folks, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah? He says, قال هشام bin Ammar, and then he mentions the full chain. Okay? Al-Bukhari starts off the hadith saying, قال هشام bin Ammar. Now, if what Al-Bukhari usually does is he says things like, حدثنا هشام bin Ammar, أخبرنا هشام bin Ammar, I heard Hisham bin Ammar. Hisham bin Ammar said to me, Hisham bin Ammar said to us. قال, when Bukhari says قال Hisham bin Ammar, it means Hisham bin Ammar said. So Ibn Hazm is saying, why is Al-Bukhari saying Hisham bin Ammar said? Why doesn't Bukhari say Hisham bin Ammar said to me? Okay, so that's where the whole issue, that's how the whole issue started. And of course some ulama were like, Bukhari doesn't have to say he said to me. We understand Bukhari was there, we understand Bukhari heard this. He doesn't have to say Hisham bin Ammar said to me. We know that this is the case. So Ibn Hazm did not accept that. Ibn Hazm says Al-Bukhari needs to have said Hisham bin Ammar said to me for us to accept this report. Okay? So that's how Ibn Hazm spoke about this topic. However, elsewhere in one of Ibn Hazm's books, by the way, folks, you guys need to be aware of something. I really appreciate Ibn Hazm. I really, really appreciate Ibn Hazm. One of my favorite scholars of all time. But I just don't. I disagree with him in this one. I have an issue with him in this specific one. And it seems like he just weakened the report for a reason that was not sufficient. Ibn Hazm, by the way, wasn't the strongest when it comes to hadith methodology. Ibn Hazm, because he's Andalusian, he was not familiar with some of the really important works from the East. Ibn Hazm did not even know a Tirmidhi. Which is strange. But Ibn Hazm did not even know a Tirmidhi. So, Ibn Hazm's positions in hadith, not really يعني he's not really top guy. I need some more tea. هلا بوس لبتن واحد اخوي. واحد لبتن.
لبتن.
ايوه.
حليب.
حليب. مشكور. لا, I'm not holding traffic, come on. Any books on علم الرجال I'd recommend in what, in Arabic or in English? طيب يا أمير الحق, I love Amir Haq. You tell me why you're asking the question, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you my thoughts if you tell me what's on your mind. مشكور boss. Give me a reference about Hazrat and 20 man's Badr. Was Imam Bukhari kicked out because, sure? Kicked out because he debated with his teacher upon topic of if Quran is makhluq. No, this was not why al-Bukhari had issues. Issues had to do with a rumor that was made about his views on this topic. And by the way, it's not about al-Bukhari believing in the creation of the Quran. The topic was about whether one's recitation of the Quran is created or not. Duolingo يسأل عن موضوع الاتيان, ولكن اعذرني يا Duolingo, يا أخي شوف لك فقيه, ما أدري ليش تسألني بصراحة يعني. Ibn Hazm is saying if Bukhari doesn't say to me, then it's mursal. Yeah, like Ibn Hazm is saying, if al-Bukhari doesn't say to me or to us or I heard, then it's mursal. Or not mursal, but it's disconnected, it's mu'allaq. Who's your favorite classical Islamic scholar? Wallah, it's tough. It's a tough question. Because what makes someone's favorite classical scholar? Like what makes someone's scholar? Someone's favorite scholar. I think it's like when you have when you're thinking about a topic and it's a tough topic, and you think to yourself, how do I solve this one? And then this scholar has an answer for it. I think that's what makes certain scholars, the favorites. And that's why you find so many people like really appreciating Ibn Taymiyyah for being very heavily involved in polemics. Or you have people like really appreciating Az-Zamakhshari for his insights on matters to do with eloquence in the Quran. Yeah, it's a tough one. Maybe I really appreciate al-Bukhari. I really appreciate Tirmidhi, Imam Ahmad, Daraqutni, Abu Hatim. But to say my favorite, I don't know, it's a tough one. It's tough. Brother, I heard too much dependency on coffee could be haram upon a person. I don't know, Ya Hamza. How about using an? Isn't that a big no-no? That's fine. It's fine. Duolingo يسأل أين الله. ما أدري إيش عنده هذا. Did your CP Lies videos get deleted from your channel? No, it's not deleted. It's just privated. Inshallah, slowly I'll be re-uploading. Please challenge the Shi'i historical narrative. Do they have a narrative? Are you our brother? Yes. How dare you, Farid, to say these things about my Duolingo? What's wrong with Duolingo? There's a dude called Duolingo asking some questions that are fine and asking some questions that are weird. Fellow A'jami Muslim says, what's the difference between Mu'allaq and Mursal? Mu'allaq is a report in which the compiler skips the chains of his, at least skips his teacher and then those above him. And the Mursal report is when a tabi'i does not mention his source. And by the way, here's an interesting one. A Mursal report is stronger than a Mu'allaq report. So if someone says, now we're speaking objectively, yeah? Objectively, a second generation Muslim narrating from the Prophet, peace be upon him, or whatnot, and it's authentically attributed to that second generation Muslim, it's likelier to be authentic than the compiler who skipped his teacher and his teacher's teacher and his teacher's teacher's teacher. So when Al-Bukhari says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كذا وكذا, without mentioning his source, it should be less reliable than when Az-Zuhri says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. We're speaking objectively here. Are you a scholar, brother? No, I'm not. أخي, Arabic books on علم الرجال, Arabic. If you're just starting off, some very good books I recommend are books that have compiled a lot of statements. And two works that I always recommend are ميزان الاعتدال by Dhahabi and تهذيب التهذيب by Ibn Hajar. Those are my recommendations. You can never have, if you're someone who's into ilm al-hadith and into ilm al-rijal, then you buy everything. You're not supposed to buy some. You're supposed to buy every single Rijali book. But it takes time, yeah? It's not something you're going to buy in a week. It may take you a few years. So the tafsir that the Qadiani brought up is weak, yes. If this is the real chinwag, then what is Jordan M's chinwag? It's a good question. It's a question for Jordan M. Fish paste. Oh my god, this guy's spamming. What was that? What was that? I've heard there are 7 categories of da'if hadith and the first 4 can be used as evidence. List out the first 4. I'm not sure what you have in mind. When you coming back to the US? Maybe next year, inshallah. Maybe. I'd like to, yeah. It was cool. It was really enjoyable. Has it ever been the case that a hadith did nasq on a hukum in the Quran? Yeah, it's a very interesting question. And you have a difference of opinion. Like some ulama, they're like, no. And some ulama, they're like, yeah, it's fine. And so, what you have to keep in mind is this. Why did some ulama say no? It seems to me, wallahu alam, that they said no because, like, you're certain with the Quran. And with a hadith, sometimes you lack the certainty that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said this. Let's say you're 90%. Ya Allah, I'm 90% the Prophet, peace be upon him, said this. And this specific hadith seems to abrogate something in the Quran. So they'd be like, is this strong enough? Maybe it's not. Therefore, I'm not going to accept this report. That could be what's going. Wallahu a'lam. But that may be the reason why some ulama were hesitant to hold this view. But yeah, it's a difference of opinion. What is the riwayah in which mudallis used an? You have to rephrase that, Ya Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum. What happens when 2 sahih hadith contradict each other? So, in cases like that, usually they're reconcilable, yeah? If they're both sahih, then they're reconcilable. And it's hard to like provide an example in which 2 reports are legit authentic in which you could not reconcile. I'm struggling to remember anything like that. Radiran says, for some reason finding all these online is difficult. Are you referring to the Rijal books? Because they're very easy to find. What's your opinion on people with no knowledge debating and making the ummah look bad? I think that they need to spend some time learning, and I think that they need to, obviously, it's not I think, they need to put the, here's the thing. The reason why they're debating without the proper knowledge is because they feel strongly about defending Islam. And in their ghira for the deen, they get excited, and they put themselves out there without realizing that them messing up makes Muslims, makes Islam look weak. That's the issue. Yeah. So may Allah reward them for their intentions, but they need to be careful. They need to take their time. They need to spend more time learning instead of just jumping into something quickly. Right? Oh, beefing with Jordan MIC. He might drop a nasheed on you. Be careful. Oof. Imagine that. Like, imagine Muslims started doing that. Like, we would drop this and nasheed on each other. Even though I think I could come up with some good stuff, I wouldn't get involved because that's too cringe. Can you guys imagine me like standing outside of like a sports car and dropping some bars against Jordan M? It's just too cringe, man. Should we follow the dominant madhab in our area out of fear of isolation, even though you have strong inclinations towards a different one? Nah, bro. You follow the madhab that's the closest to, or the most attached to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's my recommendation to you. Is there a book that compiles mutawatir hadith? Yes, you have Suyuti. I think, I forget the first word. I think it's like قطف الأزهار المتناثرة في الأحاديث المتواترة or something. But yeah, Suyuti has a book on the subject. What about Mizan al-I'tidal? What about it? What did Imam Malik say about folding the hands during Salah? There's a difference of opinions or attributions to Malik. But in his Muwatta, the hadith that he quotes has qabd. Oh, it's Jordan. It's Jordan. I need to end the stream. I need to end the stream. Jordan, where's your army, Jordan? Where's your army, Akhi? You're like the only person here with an egg. What happened to you, man? Farid, make a video on sister of Aaron, alleged error in how the mother of Mary wanted a son. She lived with Zachariah while the time Musa. Bro, there's a video. I made a video on that subject. I've already done that, man. I'm forming the army. Assassin, can you please like mute Jordan? Put this guy in timeout for entering upon my stream without permission. Farid, thoughts on Lady of Heaven? That's an interesting one. I watched Lady of Heaven, and the problem with Lady of Heaven, the problem with Lady of Heaven is I wish that like it was sourced properly. I remember, what's your name? I remember, Aba Ali al-Rafidi. I remember that Lady of Heaven. There's a clip, I think, and do correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a clip from Yas al-Habib saying that it's based on Kitab Sulaim. I could be wrong, but I think I remember him saying that. The problem with the Kitab Sulaim is that the Kitab Sulaim has 3 different renditions. When it comes to manuscripts, it has 3 different renditions. The first is the rendition of it's the famous one. It's Hamad bin Isa and Ibrahim bin Umar, like that, the Abbad bin Abi Ayyash from Sulaim, like that chain. Yeah, that's the famous one. Okay, so that's the famous one. The second one is Abdul Razzaq San'ani. Okay, Abdul Razzaq narrating Kitab Sulaim. Are you kidding me? Yeah, so that's a joke of an isnad. That's a joke of a manuscript. Like, that manuscript shouldn't exist. It's BS. Okay? And it's a clear fabrication. Like, clear, obvious fabrication. Like, you might as well narrate the Kitab Sulaim from Imam Ahmed, like, why not? And Tirmidhi, like, why not? Right? Bukhari. Why not Bukhari narrate the Kitab Sulaim? You might as well come up with that. If you're going to say Abdul Razzaq and Ma'mar narrating Kitab Sulaim, it's a joke. And then you have Nuskhat al-Rumani. Nuskhat al-Rumani is the earliest, manuscript. And if you go to Zinjani's, I think it's Zinjani's tahqiq, like an introduction, he speaks about the importance of this manuscript. Well, guess what? You can find it online. You can download it. It's available. This manuscript's available. Nothing about the attack on the house of Fatima alayhi salam. So, You see, the problem is with Kitab Sulaim that we have today. Jordan, Yahi, I'm making a point here, ya Jordan. I'm making a point about Shiism, bro. Yahi, hold off on the eggs for 1 minute, bro. Okay, so you have three friggin' manuscripts. You have three types, yeah. Umar bin Udayna, Hamad bin Isa, Abd al-Razzaq, Rumani. What you have, the book that's printed today, is a combination of all three. That's not how يعني تحقيق works. That's not how books are supposed to exist in. What you should have is you should have um, different works. What you're supposed to have طبعة. You're supposed to have like a single book called um, رواية سليم, the rendition of Sulaim's kitab from the rendition of Rumani. That's what you're supposed to have. Yeah, I'll give you an example. Yeah, like when you look at Muwatta Malik, you have Muwatta Malik برواية القعنبي, you have Muwatta Malik برواية الليثي, you have Muwatta Malik برواية أبي مصعب. Yeah, Suwaid bin Sa'id, I think. So you have these like different Muwatta'at, they're printed separately. With the Kitab Sulaim, they're all printed in one place. That's not what's supposed to happen. These are supposed to be separate books. These are supposed to be different works. Okay? So when you look, when someone says, "Oh, look, we have Kitab Sulaim here. Here's the book," and oh, check it out, it has the martyrdom of Zahra. Yeah, but that's because you collected everything and you put it in one book. But what's supposed to happen is Nuskhat Rumani, the rendition of Rumani, is supposed to be printed separately. And again, according to Zanjani, it's supposed to be like the most authoritative nuskha, the most authoritative version, right, of Kitab Sulaim. It's very early, as opposed to some of the other ones. So why does it not have this story about Zahra being killed? That's the question. And I've even once a while ago I quoted this report from Al-Kafi saying that Zahra alayha salam wa radiyallahu anha, twice a week after the death of her father, she would walk all the way to Uhud and she would come back. That's 40 minutes. Right? 40 minutes going, 40 minutes coming back. She would do this twice a week. And she would visit the graves of the Shuhada of Uhud. This does not seem to be like someone that had her ribs broken, that was dying, that her baby was killed, that was attacked in such a way. That doesn't fit, man. It doesn't fit. يعني الظاهر, the apparent nature or the apparent matter is these attacks never happened, and it fits in with the vast majority of what the Muslims have. Ahl al-Sunnah, يعني ya Habibi, do you believe that Ahl al-Sunnah, if this happened, they wouldn't record this? Why didn't Ahl al-Sunnah record this? What, like you believe there's this mass conspiracy and no one would call out to Abu Bakr and Umar? They'd call them out. Because you had people disagreeing with them on other things. Imagine the daughter of Rasulullah being killed and everyone's like quiet about it and everyone's okay about it. This is impossible. May Allah guide you, Ya Aba Ali, and inshallah better movies in the future. Farid, can't you say the Sunni scholars have hid many events in history? It's impossible that they hid this event. Yeah, because when something like that happens, you're going to have people speaking out against it. Kitab Sulaim, like when you go to Kitab Sulaim in the very beginning of the report, is Sulaim is like he is the only person who has this information, and he takes this information to Aban, and he was like, "Ya Aban, take this nuskha, take this sahifa. I've written in the sahifa the truth of the reality of history, and no one has this except for Aban." This does not make sense, man. Like this is information that's supposed to be available to everyone. For example, the example of threatening attack is mentioned in Musannaf and several other sources. طيب, okay. So you have in Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba, it collected this report from Aslam, and of course I don't believe it's authentic. I believe it's mursal. But يعني, bear with me. Yeah, so you have this report by Aslam. It's recorded, it's preserved. You have reports by Musa bin Uqba. I can't remember where, is probably like Al-Bayhaqi collected them or something, um, which speak about Zubair bin Awam's sword being broken. So we have these things about a difference of opinion occurring, but we have nothing about, okay, Fatima being killed. Like, why is that? They said these things, but they just stopped because they don't want to anger anyone. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense, man. And by the way, and even if we accept these things from Aban, even if we accept these things from Aban is a truthful person, or Aban like said these things, he's weak, man. He's weak according to Shi'ism, bro. So the only person that's reported this from Sulaim is rejected by early Shi'i Rijal scholars. Yeah. But I can't pronounce your name, bro. But yeah, I got some strikes, man. I got some strikes, but inshallah, with time, I'll be slowly uploading stuff. Um, do you have advice for someone suffering with waswas over about their wudu and is constantly thinking that they have broken it? Um, Only repeat your wudu if you're certain about it being broken, and fight the waswas. Don't like submit to the waswas. That's my suggestion. Because the more you submit to it, the harder it is to fight it. That just seems to be how these things work. I'm no expert though. Oh, I missed quite a bit. Folks. Excuse me. Strikes for what? Strikes for being mean. I've been mean to the Shias, bro. Not sorry, not to the Shias, to Apus and to David Wood. I'm usually nicer to the Shias. طيب, ya folks. Barakallah fikum. It's almost been an hour. Yeah, why is the quality so good? Like, the quality is good in this one. Madri lesh. You're welcome, bro. You're welcome, and thank you for being respectful. And I like to reciprocate. Abu Ali, think if you don't mind, please think about evidence for 12 imams. Yeah. In your free time today, tomorrow, the vast majority of people, the vast majority of Shias skip this. The vast majority of Shias, they find evidence for Ali. Yeah. They say Ghadir, etc., Kisa, etc., giving sadaqah for ring, etc. But go through all of them, because you follow imama because of the nas. What's the dalil for imamat al-Hasan? Yeah. Don't say al-Kisa. Don't say al-Kisa, because that's not sufficient. The dalil has to be appointment. The dalil, because you see, you don't use qiyas. You have to have nas, clear nas. Ali appointing al-Hasan, al-Hasan appointing al-Hussein, al-Hussein appointing Zayn al-Abidin. Can you do that with all 12 imams? Yeah. And if I would strongly recommend you look into this, because I believe that you are following some imams whose imamah cannot be established using the Shi'i methodology. I'm not saying try Sunni methodology. Thank you. I will study further, inshallah, but I have some sort of idea why I believe in imamah. Bro, it's not about believing in imamah. You want to believe in imamah, but it's more of, why do you believe in those 12? Like, if I said to you, bro, it's actually 13 imams, and Abdullah al-Aftah is supposed to be an imam. Like if I said that to you, you would say, Farid, you have to provide evidence. You have to have nas. You have to have something explicit that al-Aftah is an imam. Yeah? طيب. The same applies to all the imams. You have to look into every single example. In the same way that we have evidence for the prophethood of Rasulullah, in the same way that you have evidence for okay, I see. It's not the concept of I'm not talking about the concept. I'm not talking about the concept. I'm talking about the imams themselves, one by one. Because you cannot accept. Okay, because here's the thing: people are becoming 12ers because it's what most Shias are. If you accept Ali, therefore all 12 have to be imams, and the reason is most Shias are 12ers. That's not if you're being objective. That's not the way to do it. If you're going to be objective in the same way, because now, akhi, if I ask you, like, what's the deal with al-Hadi? Prove al-Hadi is an imam. You have to do every single one, yeah. And you can't think of it right now. If I tell you what's the evidence for al-Hadi being an imam, you're not going to be like, oh, Ghadir, oh, al-Kisa. You can't do that, yeah. You have to, because you don't know it, man. Most Shias don't know why al-Hadi is seen as an imam. It's just, hey, most Shias are imams, therefore I'm gonna follow most Shias. So yeah, you don't have to do it in a day. Spend some time, but like put a goal in your mind. Yeah, put a goal in your mind. Like I'm going to find out before the end of this month. Yeah, or something like that. And you might surprise yourself. You might believe in 9 imams instead of 12, or 8 imams, or 5. But yeah, because like 12, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like the evidence isn't there for the 12. Yeah, that's how it is. Okay, I will study further, inshallah. Thank you. Whenever you come back on here, I would present my ideas. That's great. That's great. I appreciate it, bro. And you can follow your channel. I appreciate it, Ya Aba Ali. Take care of yourself, man. Almost at the hour mark. I'm gonna end this in a minute, inshallah. I didn't expect to be here for this long. What makes Shia Hadith unreliable? That's a long topic, but to be brief, we lack information about the main narrators. That's the main issue. And some of their top narrators have been caught manipulating reports. So that's a major issue. The vast majority of reports come through 2 compilers, and that's a big problem. So, like, for example, if al-Bukhari was treated as a liar, imagine we no longer accepted al-Bukhari. Imagine that, yeah? Everything al-Bukhari has, you can find in some other book. Okay? Now, let's do this with the Shi'i works. If al-Kulayni is unreliable, you lose a lot of hadiths. So, that's the thing. And of course, we don't believe al-Kulayni is reliable. If Shias want to reject al-Bukhari, it's fine. Again, everything al-Bukhari says is preserved elsewhere. طيب, folks. Yalla, folks. I'm going to bounce. I'll catch you guys later, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.